Welcome back to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper. Now it's time for the World Lead. He's already revealed the NSA's massive reach into our personal information, but what could be so sensitive that Edward Snowden has not yet spilled it? Well, just the whole playbook for every move the NSA ever made. Glenn Greenwald, the reporter to whom Snowden continues to leak information, told the Associated Press that Snowden has the blueprints for the NSA, how it's built, how it operates. But Greenwald says Snowden does not want that information made public. Of course, this could be the ultimate dead hand for Snowden. That's a term used in the Cold War, an insurance policy in case anything happens to him. In that event, Greenwald says Snowden took steps to give certain people access to the encrypted documents he waltzed off with. But it's not clear how that would happen or who would get them. Snowden is no doubt very familiar with the offerings in the Moscow airport food court by now. He's been stuck there for more than 3 weeks. On Friday, Snowden requested asylum again from Russia and reportedly said he'd agree to the Russians' conditions that he stop leaking information, something he seemed to initially bristle at. President Vladimir Putin today acknowledged that Snowden's position appears to have changed and says his situation is not clear at this point. Putin also blames the U.S. for trapping Snowden in Russia by revoking his passport. Glenn Greenwald, who broke this story for The Guardian and remains in contact with Snowden, joins me now from Brazil. Glenn, thanks for being here. Let's talk about this information that is out there that has not been published. If this campaign of Snowden's is supposed to be about true transparency, why the slow reveal? Why is Snowden holding on to this information as an insurance policy? Is this what was referred to in the Cold War as a dead hand?
No, the reason that it's been a process that isn't instantaneous, that it's not a indiscriminate document dump, is precisely because he is the classically responsible whistleblower. He vetted thousands and thousands of documents and then didn't just dump them on the internet. He came to us as journalists, established news organizations, and said, I want you only to publish what really is in the public good and not publish things that will result in gratuitous harm. And so when I refer to the massive amounts of documents he has that could really do damage to the U.S. government, what I'm saying is that the claim that he's trying to harm the U.S. government is ludicrous. He's done the opposite. He's been incredibly responsible in asking us to report on the story as judiciously as we can.
But there is all this information out there. If something happens to him, it would be released. Is that right?
No, it's been incredibly sensationalized and distorted what that issue is. At the very beginning, when he had these documents and went to Hong Kong, before he came to the media, he made sure that if anything happened to him, that the documents would still be released and that the stories would still come out by placing them with other people or on the internet and ensuring people had access to that. And his idea was if they try and kidnap me or render me as they've done in the past, or even kill me, something really extreme, I have planned that these stories will still come out. I won't have thrown away my life for nothing. At this point, that's totally hypothetical. It's much too public. That's not going to happen. He has safeguarded these materials with extreme amounts of encryption. Nothing that has been released has been remotely damaging to national security, and that is going to continue to be exactly how it is.
Obviously, people in the government would disagree with you on that, but Glenn, you've been critical of the media's focus on Snowden the fugitive, the American media's focus, as opposed to a focus on the information he's revealed about the NSA and surveillance. What do you think the public is not getting? What do you think that the media is not reporting?
I actually think the public is getting it. The most recent polls show that a large majority views him as a whistleblower and not a traitor. I think the media is off, as usual, on trivial distractions. In his first interview about why he came forward, he said the NSA is trying to build a system that intercepts every single call and email that Americans have with one another in the world. I've said repeatedly that our reports show that they're trying to destroy privacy globally. And there was an article just this morning in the Washington Post that reported that Keith Alexander, the head of the NSA's strategy when he was in the Iraq War, was a phrase, collect it all, aimed at people in Iraq in a war. And that is the approach that has now been transplanted to U.S. soil. Collect it all, meaning collect every single telephone call, email, and internet activity that Americans have with one another and that the world has with one another. And that's the only real issue here, is that the NSA is building this massive, ubiquitous, limitless spying apparatus in the dark, and we ought to be debating it and having transparency about it. That's the substance of the story.
Glenn Greenwald, thank you so much for your time, as always. Coming up.